Welcome into the buzz. I am Nivelle J. Lee, and we are so excited to be joined by this Tony Award-winning actress who can be seen in Your Friends and Neighbors. She also had appearances in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, not Miss Maisel, Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
And I have the pleasure of sitting down with Miriam Silverman. How are you? And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. Yeah.
So, as we mentioned, Your Friends and Neighbors. It is now streaming on Apple TV. We are in season two.
Mhm.
It's one of my favorite shows. I enjoy it so much. It's always in the top 10, it's always number one. I think it was number one for the past 3 weeks.
Totally number one still. It's
And
great.
it's still number one. So, the cast is amazing. We even added on James Marsden to the show, who is an absolute spitfire this season.
Yeah.
I spoke to Lena Hall a couple of weeks back,
Oh,
and
great.
I brought him up, and he just brings a whole different beast to the residents of this neighborhood that probably they don't want. They don't want. I don't think they want. So I don't know how much of the interaction you have seen with him on set or been around him on set. What has that been like for you to even experience not just him as an actor, but also for the character of Ash on the show?
Great. Just a pleasure in every way. I mean, he's such a wonderful contribution to the show. We were all really excited about him being added, and we got to be around him a lot. The sort of ensemble of the friends and neighbors, because so much of what we do are showing up for these sort of party scenes. The very first
Mhm.
episode is this big party that he throws,
That he threw.
and it's you don't have to act very much. You basically have these ladies standing around a table, and
They're drinking
we're
and they're
drinking
gossiping.
and we're gossiping and talking about how hot he is. And he just James Marsden, Owen Ash walking in. It's not like we have to do anything. We're
You
just
didn't have to act. You just basically just said words that literally were probably our own words.
it was amazing.
There was no dialogue needed to be
No,
written. It was
nothing
actually
needed.
just
No performance. Just truth. Just truth. I think my character said like I wouldn't kick him out of bed or something. I wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating. I wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crackers or something. I
I
mean
remember
something
that
silly.
line.
But
Yep.
it's like we all felt like that. And I will not out her, but one of our group, one of the six ladies standing around that table was like dying inside because she was like, no, 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 he was the heartthrob crush. We all had them.
You all have
And
them, yes.
like mine were sort of like I'd say it was like deeply in the Christian Slater pump up the volume Heathers kind of vibe. I guess I
Oh,
like
so
troubled
you're
bad boys. I don't know what that says about me. But but like James Marsden for one of the cast, one of the ladies in the ensemble, that was her everything. And so we were like, we would be joking about it between takes. We never told James because he would just come over and you would just like watch the blushing happening. You'd watch the like jelly knees happening, and it was such a fun extra layer of that scene because it
Get
was
the
his
fans
first
out. That's
day.
what you needed now is the fans. There it is,
Yes,
guys.
yeah, it was like our first day working with him. But he's so incredible. He's so charismatic and so funny. And like every take he does is like there's something interesting going on. I thought him and John, the way they played off of each other is terrific. Like they just have such a good chemistry and rapport. And he just brings another whole like dimension to the show, and it was really fun.
It's I said I didn't say this to Lena when I brought him up, but this was something that I even said about James too. Is that I followed this man since Boogie's Diner, and that was one of my
Whoa.
favorite shows. And I grew up in the corny TV trope Saved by the Bell, which also he guest starred in, but
Yes.
the new class. But he was a part of the Saved by the Bell franchise, even though it was the
Yeah.
new class. I still was a fan of it. I just so the fact that I got to see him now in this arena for over 30 years
Yeah.
and into this space, which is one that I vehemently love and still talk about. It's such a treat to see him act opposite, as you mentioned, John, and having their back and forth in their banter, and just seeing how he's interacting with everybody in the neighborhood, especially the ladies, because
Yeah.
he is charismatic, not just James himself off screen, but also as Ash on screen.
Yeah.
And that party, as you mentioned, when I watched it, I said, this is a fun party. I want to be on the trampoline. I
Exactly.
want to jump in the pool with everybody. I want to do all of those things. But I wasn't invited. So
It looks really fun, but the reality is, I think we were out. We shot, we shoot usually up like Westchester, but sometimes
oh, okay, got it.
sometimes Long Island, and that was a mansion on Long Island, and I think we spent 4 nights shooting that one scene, and it's like
4 nights. So this wasn't done in one shot.
no, no. There were so many different parts because there was stuff inside the house. There was all the stuff at the pool, which took, it was wild. And I remember that the night that we were shooting the outside part, the pool scene, we kept having these lightning delays where everybody had to go inside and wait.
Mm,
And you just wait and you wait. And there are all these rules about how long you have to wait. So it might have like looked cute and fun, but actually like those scenes in
yeah,
particular were really like it'd be like 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and we'd be like, okay, the sun's going to come up when and the lightning, and it's like it's exhausting.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And that makes sense, especially when weather decides to take a turn for the worst and everything. So yeah, you would have to do shoots later on. So I didn't even
yeah.
think of that. So that makes sense. But as fun as that looks, as you just said, just the fact that you're working those long hours on multiple days just to do something that probably only lasted within the episode, maybe about 20 minutes. That's insane to me when I hear stories like that,
Yeah.
where it looks like this on screen and it's only this short amount of time that we're watching this play out, but yet it took longer to get it done. It's always so amazing to me to hear that. What about the sauna scenes? Are they like that too? When you're
No, the sauna scenes are pretty easy because they're contained. We shoot those on it. They built a sauna on the stages that we use, so it's like
okay,
it's
okay.
there. We the biggest part of that is like they have to put all this sort of like glycerin and stuff on us to make us look
Mhm.
sweaty when it's actually a little cold usually on set. They can't have it be really hot because the cameras would fog up.
I was
So,
gonna say that you're not gonna be able to see anybody.
yeah, no, those are actually usually pretty easy and pretty quick, and we've had a couple. I think there are two different ladies sauna scenes this season, and we had one last season, and those are always lots of fun. We look forward to those, but it's always funny in TV what takes a long time to shoot, and you sort of know when it's inside and contained, but then there's always like the things that you have to go back for, like you shoot it and then at the end of the season you have to go back. In that scene at Ash's house, there's this great moment where Steph Kurtzuba, who plays Diane Miller, who's very very drunk in that episode, and she's
Yeah,
the one that falls into the pool
she's the
first,
one that fell in the pool.
and it
Mhm.
was very elaborate choreography where they wanted the like statue to fall at the same time, and
Oh yes,
yes,
yes, yes.
and I guess like they didn't get the right thing, so they actually went back near the end of the season and did reshoots on that scene.
Oh
um,
really?
yeah, and it's funny. It's like I was last summer while we were shooting season 2, I was also doing this Netflix show Vladimir at the same time, so I was like back and forth between those two shows, and same thing on Vladimir, like we would have um things that we shot, and then like 2 months later they were looking at it and realizing they needed to reshoot a certain part, so you go back and you spend another day or two on the same
Hmm.
thing that you already spent a couple of days on. It is wild how much goes into it.
I've always wanted to ask, especially if you're doing multiple shows at the same time, how is it to get from out of your headspace, out of the one show that you're already doing, and into the headspace of the second show that you're doing? How
Yeah,
easy, how difficult is it to
it's a
change the
really
mindset a little bit?
really good question. I was joking recently with a friend that last summer my strategy was hair,
Mm,
stats, because I was actually doing three, and I'm mostly joking, but like a little bit serious in that I
yeah.
was friends and neighbors, sort of like the hair is always like a little wavy. And then on Vladimir, in my first meeting with the hair team, I was like, Florence is a really like her name is Florence, like she's very fussy. So I was like, let's make it really curly. So we made my hair really curly and like sort of
Yeah.
just fussy. And then I also was shooting on a Landman. I was in a couple episodes of the second
And a
season of
few
Landman,
landmen. Yeah.
and I was like, she has straight hair. She has like a straight, very boring bob, like no movement, like just like just as like matronly and professional as we can get. And so
That
it's
makes sense for that show though.
yes, yes. So it's so dumb, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like have slightly different variations on my short hair, and that will at least help locate. And costumes help, and of course, it's totally those are three totally different worlds
Yeah.
from those shows. I have, supporting fun parts in all of them. If I were leading a show, like, John Hamm last year did he did Friends and Neighbors, and he was in the first season of Landman, and I think that must be,
And he was doing the morning show.
of course, it's like when you're toggling between shows and you're like the lead of the show,
Yeah.
that's like even more kind of heavy lifting and just being like, okay, yeah, what day is it? What city am I in? And what stage am I stepping into right now?
Yeah, because I thought that about him when he was doing the morning show and Fargo at the same time, because he
Right,
was doing
right.
those two at the same time. And I
Yeah.
immediately said, I don't understand how you could do this from you have to go to New York and then you got to go up to Canada. And it's just, and a back and forth. And I'm amazed at actors' stamina a lot. So I give a lot of credence and a lot of applause to all of you because I know for shit I can't. And the main thing I joke about is if I were on a show for multiple days, my non-existent hair does grow out. So I need to make sure that if it starts growing out, you need to make sure you shave it to where it looks like how
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
been looking. And I'll take care of the beard,
yeah.
but this got to be looking like fresh to death. So I feel like I'm in that camp where when you're talking about your hair, I was like, that's my fear. That's my fear that if they notice in this the scenes go on that I'm looking a little different facially, I'm going, oh, and this is why I wear hats. I'm not wearing it right now, but this is why I wear hats. So people don't know what's going on underneath here. No, no one needs to see that.
That's a good strategy. Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know if it works. So
Good. Yeah, do.
being and so let's talk about theater a little bit. I love the theater, and I haven't been to any shows in the last year. I need to get back because I love New York and I love going to Broadway. It's been one of my favorite things. Seeing Aladdin on Broadway was a big thrill for me. That was
Oh
my
yeah, we just took
I
our kids recently to see that. It was
I
so
love
fun.
loved it.
Yeah.
And one of the shows that it wasn't on Broadway, but it was still a play that I saw, and it was oh shoot, and it was the one Jeff Daniels was actually doing it as Atticus Finch.
Oh
And
yes, yes.
such a beautiful it was and it To Kill a Mockingbird.
Ellie Mockingbird. Yeah.
And I was going like, I'm going to remember it because it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
And so it's going to come to me. So to see that on the stage too, and him playing that role and being one of my favorite books, it's just so amazing to me. What is it about for you? I could talk about theater all day, but what about for you? What is it about the theater that you love so much and being a
Oh,
part of this? Because
yeah.
for me, the theater for me, because when I did plays, it's just the rush of euphoria of getting on that stage every night. Yes, we're doing the same lines every day, but it's a different audience and it's a different tone when you're going into onto that stage. You're playing to a different caliber of people whenever they come and see you do your thing. That's so much fun for me when I get to do that, especially when there's no retakes, there's no reshoots. If you mess up your line, you go ahead and do it. You go ahead and get through it. When I did South Pacific, that happened, and it didn't happen to me, but I caught somebody that messed up their line, and I kind of came in and helped them through it with an ad libs, so that
Yeah.
it came back, and so then the line reverted back to me,
Mhm.
and then finished out the scene, and everybody off stage was going like, "You saved that scene," and I was going like, "I saw him do his thing," and it was to the point where no one in the audience picked up on it.
Yeah.
I was able to because I was standing right next to him. So that's what's so much fun for me. That's like I love that about theater because we always support our people on the stage.
Yeah.
But it's also so much fun to be in front of that audience and being able to perform in front of them every day, all the time. And I miss being on stage, and it's so
Yeah.
much fun for me. So what?
Yeah.
Enough about me. What about
No,
you?
no, all of that. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like being in a theater with a live audience and having things happen in the moment in that room. And
Mm-hmm.
that is sort of the final version of that will ever happen in that way on that night. That
Yeah.
it's like the impossibility of kind of capturing or even repeating, really. Yes, theater, the structure of theater is that you do the same things with the same costumes and the same lines and the same story every night. But as you said, like whether it's the sort of times when things go off the rails or something goes wrong, there's a mistake, a line flub, or just the moments when we're having our scene and a line lands a little differently in my brain or in my heart that night, and
Yes.
I discover something which it's magic, and it's such a there's something that is so precious and kind of holy. You know, I'm not a religious person, but if I were religious, it would be sort of in this spiritual way of like what happens in a theater when you have people breathing the same air, you
Yeah.
know, and sharing and experiencing something as a community. I just think there's just nothing like it. And I love working in TV and film, and I hope to keep doing so forever. But I am from the theater. That is why I became an actor. And
Yeah.
so far in the last few years, while I've been doing a little less theater, I've been sort of lucky enough to do like one play a year generally. And every time I'm back on stage, I'm like, oh, I love that. Yeah, nobody's doing changing anything in post. Nobody's
Yep.
deciding which take to use. There's only the one take I give that night, and that's
And
it.
that's it.
And that's what lives in the brains of the people that came. And then it's gone. And the next night, it's totally mine again to
Totally
try.
new, totally different.
Yeah,
I love what you said about how when you say something and in your head it may not be how it comes out. You're
yeah,
thinking of saying this in this way, but yet it comes out in this way. I love that explanation that you said because that was me. Because I'm going to say it this way, but yet it came out this way and it worked.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, should I have done it this way? And then it just comes out in the way it comes out. And then all of us, you see the audience react to it. I'm just going, okay, this works. So now I know what to do. Like there are
Yes,
times where I go, I now know what to do the next night and the next night and the next night
yes.
and not overthink it and
Mhm.
overshoot it. And then it just works out. And I just love that that take where
Yeah.
it's just that one take and then you're just going right ahead and doing it. It's oh god, I miss it
And it's
so
endless.
freaking much.
If
I
it's
really do.
I know if it's a good play and the cast is good and the conditions are right, you know, usually you can make it such that the discovery is just endless. Like every,
Yeah.
you know, that example you just gave of you realize, oh, this line could work this way. And then the next week you discover something else about a different line in a different scene, or you discover something else about an entire scene that had never felt like it totally worked, and you drop into something. And the whole process of getting to do this night after night for weeks or months on end is like an
Mm.
excavation and an exploration the whole time. And that also is really rare and precious. I also say, you know, where it's the industry is rightly terrified of AI, and we are in this like scary
Oh
moment.
man.
And it's not helpful that these celebrities are saying we should embrace it. Like they can go, you know, it's like really, really unhelpful
You
that
want me to get on my soapbox about that comment?
I
Because I
mean,
can.
yeah, it's like it's been a few of them lately. There's like a number of very high
I
profile
heard.
celebrities who are really betraying the sort of like massive quantities, like the majority of their industry in making
Why are
really,
we embracing something where I want authenticity?
of course,
I want to see my people on stage. I want to see my
absolutely.
people on the screen.
Yeah,
I want it to be them. I want it to be them doing what they love to do and not have something. Now look, I know that the late Val Kilmer, he gave his permission that he's going to be in this movie. I can mention that because it has
yeah,
been put out there
yeah,
that that was done on his own
yeah,
terms. He gave that permission in order for so I'm not totally against that because this was something that he wanted to have them do. And there and the family or the estate, I should say, is getting compensated for that. That to me, I'm like, okay, I can respect that because you're now using this in such a way where your estate is getting paid.
yeah,
They're not reaping the benefits of using your AI likeness.
totally.
You're
It's
doing
sort
this
of
to your
yeah,
estate. So I think I respect that decision. But when you're having actors that is basically saying that we need to embrace it and we need to let it in our lives and everything, I'm going like, tell me about this when when somebody that you know and love has passed on, and then you're going to see a movie come out and it's their likeness of it, their voice likeness as well in this film. We should embrace that. We should embrace this.
yeah, and
I don't like that.
no.
I want I want my realness.
And
I
what's
want people like
more,
you to be there.
it's not, I mean, there is that sort of strand of it, which is like people who aren't alive anymore whose images can be used in perpetuity. But there's just so much more. There's just so much more about the ways it's going to be used and the ways that, I mean, the celebrities who recently have been sort of and embracing it or saying people need to get with the program, it's coming from a very deeply privileged, very sheltered, and out of touch perspective. Those are not people who are actually in touch with the vast majority of working actors or all of the other people in the industry who stand to lose their jobs because they are getting made redundant by the idea of like, well, we don't
Mm-hmm.
need people to do all the millions of jobs that need to be done. I mean, it's like, you know, you start being able to do something
Yeah.
without actually shooting it. It's like the trickle down we've already seen of like, well, what about the people who come in and, what about the everybody who works in production,
I was gonna say everybody
the
behind the scenes that
caterers,
do this.
everybody that makes the industry, that has made the industry, that has helped make those people be able to have their careers and find
Yeah.
the success that they have been held up by all the people in the industry making it possible. And so for them to turn around and say like we need to like learn to embrace it is such a betrayal. And I'd like to think optimistically that they hopefully will listen to the pushback that they're getting about those comments and
Mm-hmm.
will be a little bit more mindful and do a little bit more thinking and research on it. But it's like
I agree.
all of that is to say that like it's just a reminder of, when I think about theater, how there's a
Can't
reason.
use AI in theater.
It's like in theater, it's been around since time immemorial and it always will be. And I do wonder as we sort of move into the future, I think people will start to value it even more.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
do too. And it's I want to call back to that comment you said because I didn't even think of it in this way, even though I have before. But the part where you talked about production and how this could affect their jobs as well, that's kind of already happening, as you said, because
Oh
you're
yeah.
seeing on social media how people are using AI so much of the likenesses of celebrities to where, I mean, even the thing with the fight with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt that came out, that was an AI video, and everybody thought it was legit 100% real, and it wasn't. This is literally going to, as time goes on and this advances, what are we going to need studios anymore? What
Yeah.
are we going to need all of this extra fluff and fold that's going on when people can literally just do this in the comfort of their own houses?
Totally. I mean, look around. Like half the time these days, you look at the key art, the movie posters or whatever for new TV shows and film. Even that slice of the industry, people are using AI to make the images. They're not using real artists anymore. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's like in every area of the industry, you can see examples of the fallout and the sort of loss of work and the
Yeah.
loss of employment for artists and artisans who are the people that have built this industry.
It's
So
insane. It's
yeah,
insane to see how it's scary to see how advanced it is. I want to say it that way because
yeah,
I don't want to say it's insane. It is scary because as I scroll through Instagram a lot and you're seeing these things, I never realized how good they could make someone be in a video. I had no idea that they could make.
yeah,
I'm using John Hamm as an example, just as an example, since we're talking about your friends and neighbors, how good they can make him be on social media looking like John Hamm and sounding like John Hamm. I never would consider myself to be that invested in doing something like that, especially to full fans like that online that in
yeah,
that capacity. But the fact that you have many people that are using these tools in order to do these types of things, that's what's scary to me because they can make anybody believe anything that's online. And
yeah,
that's what's frightening to me. That's what I hate about it too.
totally, totally.
I could go on for this for hours because this is not, like I said, I like my authenticity, and as
Yeah,
you said, research is a key thing when it comes to AI. Please, when you look at stuff, do your research, especially if you know if an actor, because a lot of the time when this happens, it's always some type of wording that gets pinpointed out where they know that's not something they would say. Do
yep,
your research. Just know what you're getting into when you're looking at this stuff.
yeah,
Just research. And I I also wanted to call back to the theater conversation as well because I was going to ask earlier about going from theater to television and film and everything. What are some So you started out in the theater itself before you branched into television.
yes.
What was it from theater that you learned when you got into television? What were things that you took from your theater experience? into television?
I think there are sort of two things that come to mind, and one is that I think there's a discipline that you need when you're a theater actor that like is equips you as an artist in ways that very few things do. The amount of time you spend training and rehearsing and practicing, right? This is
Hmm.
on TV and film. It's rare that you really do much rehearsal. You might do a camera rehearsal so that everybody knows where the scene's happening and
Okay.
where you're turning and where you're picking up a prop and all that, and like make sure the lighting and all that is good. But once in a while, you get a little rehearsal. You do a table read of the script, but in the theater, before you ever get an audience, you spend 4 weeks rehearsing 6 days a week. And
Okay.
I think there's just a kind of discipline and rigor to that it's so then stepping into the film and TV world, it feels like, oh my God, okay, I just have to, it's really, I'm going to be waiting around for hours and hours. And I'm going to spend a lot of time in hair and makeup and doing a
Hmm.
lot of stuff and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when like we go to shoot, it's actually just it's all feels like these tiny little morsels because you just shoot little bits of scenes and then you do it
Yeah.
12 times with different setups, and it's so
Oh, that's right.
it's
Yeah.
so segmented that I think coming from the theater and sort of always knowing that you have to like hold the whole story,
Hmm.
it's great training for it. I think it's honestly a lot easier to go from being a theater actor and having that experience into the TV and film world because of the tools that you bring, and it doesn't always work in the reverse so well. Sometimes it does and it's brilliant, right? I There's a guy on Broadway right now who I don't know if he's done much theater, but he's having the most incredible Broadway debut in a play, Alden Ehrenreich. He's in Becky Shaw right now, and he's like, you can't believe he hasn't been doing theater his whole career. And again, I don't know that much about him. He's a lovely guy. Maybe he did a lot of theater when he was like really young, but
Hmm.
sometimes somebody is like, oh, you just know exactly what you're doing without all the experience. But most of the time, there's just muscles that you build as a theater actor that I think translate in any direction. The other is sort of about that about is it about story. I think as theater actors, you train and sort of get experience at really thinking not just about your part in the you're not just you're like you're being a little cog in the wheel, but actually about the
Yeah.
whole. And so a good theater actor thinks about everything they're doing in a dramaturgical way, so you're sort of both like, what is my part in this, and being totally immersed in what my character is doing in this moment, but also knowing like, I know what this overall scene is about, and I know the goal of
Hmm.
this, and I know what this episode is doing, or I know what sort of like this whole section needs to accomplish, and that helps you sort of just lock in more easily to the energy of something, and give you more ideas about how to play it and what to sort of offer.
I, well, as you were describing that, the thing I love is I started watching soaps as a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
So soap opera and soap opera actors to me, I hate that they get a bad rep because they are some of the hardest working actors in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of you talking about the theater and I think of them because they're reading 80 pages of dialogue a day, new
Yeah.
scripts per
Yeah.
day, and some reading them on site when
Yep.
they're getting ready to film. And I think that sort of is in comparison to theater because
Yeah.
they're able to know all of this dialogue in one fell swoop and get onto that stage and go ahead and act the
Totally.
pants out of it
Yeah.
because they have that soap opera training too. I think that's where that television training and into theater works.
Yeah.
When you are a soap opera actor and go into theater, they already have that
Yes.
brain working in order to remember their lines and know exactly as you were describing, like how is this pertaining to the scene? What is the scene about? Who am
Yeah.
I to this character? Who am I to the scene? They're able to do that since they were already having to do that when they're on a
Totally.
soap.
Totally. It's very similar skill. I want to know too what your favorite soap was, because I watched All My Children for like all of my high school years. All My Children was like,
Funny
damn.
story. Funny story about that. So I'll answer your first question before I get into that story. As the World Turns was my first love.
Mm-hmm.
I loved As the World Turns, and it broke my heart when it got canceled in 2010. But yeah, As the World Turns was my jam.
Yeah.
And now the funny part is that when I talked to Lena last week,
Yeah.
so the irony was because I said this to her, and this is exactly how it went. I said, so trivia for you today. as well as everybody listening. This is literally how I built it up. I said, today is April 14th. Today marks the 15th anniversary where ABC announced that All My Children and One Life to Live was getting canceled. And you, Lena, were also on the show.
I didn't know that.
She played uh, a prostitute named Trina back in 2008. Uh, she was hired to break up JR and Babe,
Oh my God,
and
that's so funny.
she told me the story about how they were going to make her a contract player, and she was in she was like, I think, in 8 episodes, and they were going to make her full time. They were going to pick up her option, but then the writer strike happened, and
Uh-huh.
once the writer strike happened and then the writers came in, then her character just didn't
That's so
pick
funny.
up. So I was going like, wow, this is a full circle moment.
That's amazing. That's really funny. I didn't know. I can't wait to talk to her about that. That's wild.
That is so
Um,
wild. I love
yeah.
when you said that. I was like, oh, I can tell this story. So,
Yeah.
but I grew to love All My Children too, because I was able to kind of watch, especially when more went off the air. I was able to watch, and then SoapNet came into being, so I was able to watch CBS during the day,
Yeah.
and then ABC at night because of SoapNet, and then NBC only had days on it.
Right.
So, I was able to make, and then days went to SoapNet. So I was able to watch everything in one day. So it made it so much easier for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, World Turns was just, I just loved Oakdale so much. And then I just loved these actors because they really, I could not imagine bringing it in like that every
No,
day.
I know
Reading, reading all of this dialogue in
yeah.
one day, and then doing this, and then as time went on, blocking became less and less and less to where they didn't have rehearsals. You block the scene, you go right in, and then you
Yeah.
get pink pages on set.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you get the pink pages.
Yeah.
So then you got to learn right there on set the
And
changes to the script.
not everybody can do that. I mean, that's the thing, is that the sort of last minuteness and being able to like literally just memorize quickly and
Yeah.
also make choices with it, not just memorize it, but like have it be digested enough to then be able to do it. I got to do this film like a year and a half ago. We shot it in Greece. It hasn't come out yet. I think it's coming out this summer finally. But it was an amazing cast, like such a badass cast. And one of the actors on it, who is like, a huge star and so amazing and so accomplished, and like I'm such a fan of his, that he would watch sometimes because the writer of the film was a previous collaborator of mine, and knew that he
Okay.
could come. Like he'd text me the night before and be like, okay, we're rewriting, me and the director are rewriting this little thing, can you learn this? And I would learn it, and then I get on the set and he'd come over and like show me. He was like, actually, we just rewrote this, and give me a new little speech to do, like a monologue. And he's and I'd be like, okay, when are we shooting it? They're like, end of the day. Great. Okay. Then 5 minutes later, a PA comes over, was like, actually, we're going to shoot that next. And so I would
Yep.
like, learn it.
Yep.
And my friend was like, how the hell are you how did you just learn that and then just do it? And I was like,
Yep.
theater. All when
Theater.
you do new plays, that's what it is. You're in preview performances and you get total new pages that day. You learn it, you figure out
Uh,
how. It's a muscle you build, and it's like, it's so funny. It's like you can't be precious about it. You just have to get good at learning it. And like I'm sure the way that the engine and the machine of soap operas worked was that same thing. It's like you didn't have time. You just
didn't have time.
constantly reabsorbing and redigesting and having to deliver.
Yeah, they still don't have time. And I love the fact that there are now, as I said to Lena, the same thing. There are major actors in the business that are showing their respect for subs. They never gotten that respect before
Yeah,
from major actors. Ryan Gosling in particular, who has now shown his appreciation. Well, he's always appreciated. It's just now it's been made public because he
yeah,
announced it. And the fact that he watched Days of Our Lives in the 90s and growing up and watching the possession and also
yeah,
knowing the craft that they do
yeah,
is it's amazing to me to know that they do respect it because there are, and even though I am in the media, there are people within the media that like to cast down on that genre.
yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, you do realize that there are shows that you watch that are soaps, right? Like Law and Order SVU is a soap. The
Yeah.
Walking Dead is a soap.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
Friends and Neighbors is also a soap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you do realize that the stuff you're watching are soaps. And let's not forget, there are sitcoms that are also soap operas. Friends was also a soap opera.
Absolutely.
Friends was also a soap opera, not to mention the fact that the creators of the show were All My Children fans, and that's why they named the characters after characters from All My Children.
That's right. That's right. I knew that. Yep.
I'm like, guys, you're talking down on a genre that's literally a genre that you write about every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
It's amazing to me that they don't pick up on it. And as much as I love her and as much as I respect her, Shonda Rhimes, I love you. I've interviewed you, but Grey's Anatomy is a soap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She doesn't like it when we call it that, and I'm going, I'm not
Um,
sorry. It's a soap. You can't be on number one for 20 plus years and having a continuing storyline the way that you do on this show and not be a soap. It's a soap. On record, Novell says that Grey's Anatomy is a soap. So insane. But I love that everybody is realizing this, and I love that everybody is giving it the respect it deserves. It may
yeah.
have taken so many years in order for it to happen, but the fact that it is happening, and especially in a time where people at once said it was a dying breed, and now that we had a new show that came on CBS last year that just got renewed for 2 more years, Beyond the Gates, I'm proud of you. I love that they're showing more love for this and wanting to bring more daytime dramas into the fold
Yeah.
and continuing and building out this medium even more, and even the vertical dramas and as well. So it's just it's wonderful. I'm just so happy that my people are finding work.
Yes. Yes.
I'm very happy that they're finding work, and especially in something that needs to be celebrated and is now getting that celebration it deserves and warrants. So I can go on and on and on about everything with you because this was so much fun, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate you spending time
Yeah.
with me,
Thank you for
and
having me.
and I would love to do this again. Please, let's do this again.
Definitely.
Maybe the season finale of Your Friends and Neighbors.
Sure. Yeah. We start shooting season 3 in like 3 weeks. We start. So
I heard there's a new cast member that's joining the show.
there is. I'm very
Yes.
excited about having her. So it's great. Yeah.
I saw some of the pictures from the season 3 premiere in New York. It looked so good, and I was
It's
like, all
fun.
right, so season 2, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I said season 3. Sorry, I'm manifesting that I'll be there for season 3. Maybe that's what
Better
it is.
come. You better
I'm
come.
manifesting that I will be there to celebrate on the red carpet with you guys for
Good.
season 3.
Let's
Let's make
do
that
it.
happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it happen because I'm only 2 hours from New York. I might as well
There you
go.
go.
I'm
There
only
you
two
go.
hours. So yes,
Yeah.
Miriam, thank you so much.
Thank you,
This was so
Novella.
much
So
fun.
nice to talk to you.